Growing up in the harsh winter weather of upstate New York was a long, long way from the bright, warm lights of Hollywood. But for the little girl who made the move, it did prove her destiny. But first, she had to take dance classes to overcome her shyness.
I was so terribly introverted. My mom said I used to run and hide if the doorbell rang. I was afraid of people.
Annette Funicello's fairy tale life began when her parents gave her a pair of ballet shoes to help her step out of the shell, never realizing she would dance into the heart of a man who'd change her life forever.
When Walt Disney saw me dance, and he called my dancing school teacher and said, "We'd like you to bring in the dark-haired gal for an audition." We had never heard the expression audition before. And I said to my teacher, "What is that?" And he said, "I don't know, but it might be fun. Let's give it a try."
Little did sweet and innocent Annette know that she was about to become 1 in 10,000. That's the number of darling hopefuls who tried out for just 24 spots as Mouseketeers. She squeaked by the final cut to be the very last member of the Mickey Mouse Club.
That very first day, they gathered 24 kids, took us into wardrobe, showed us the little pleated skirts and the little sweaters with our names across, and put these crazy-looking ears that the boys said, "I don't want to wear this, it ruins my pomp."
Shy Annette became an overnight sensation. Then she had real reason to hide.
We were adored. Mob scenes, same kind of thing where people would come up and snip off pieces of your hair and rip off clothing. And I mean, we had to be very, very careful. We always had security with us. And not that anybody ever tried to hurt us, but we became America's best friends. And it was scary sometimes. I couldn't go anywhere. I couldn't go shopping. I couldn't go to a restaurant. I could never eat. I go to Mass every Sunday, and I've had people tap me on the shoulder and ask for an autograph while the Mass is going on, and I go, "Shh, not now."
There were frightening experiences for little Annette. One horrifying incident almost ended her career.
You have people with their cameras up very, very close to you, and one young boy came up about this close and went to take a picture, and the bulb exploded. Little piece of glass went in my skin. I remember that. Well, he was so devastated. He didn't mean to hurt me, but they had to rush me out to first aid. We always had someone from first aid travel with us and pick out the little pieces. And I've always been gun-shy of cameras to this day.
Uncle Walt was always there for Annette in times of trouble.
He would come and sit and talk to me if I was filming something, and I thought he was very warm and very sincere, and not the tyrant that I've heard from some people.
But even when Walt Disney implored his little Mouseketeers to call him by his pet name, Annette just couldn't.
He would tell us always to call him Uncle Walt. Everybody at the studio called him Uncle Walt. You know, we had Uncle Makeup, Aunt Hairdresser. I could never bring myself to call him Uncle Walt. I just respected him too much.
Disney acknowledged the little girl's respect by treating her like a superstar.
I could have gotten very spoiled because I had the limousines to take me wherever I went, and I just had to turn around. Somebody would be pulling up a chair, bringing me something to eat. I never really liked that. I never thought of myself as something unusual.
From childhood on through beach movies and now to her current status, Annette never forgets Uncle Walt.
He became like a second father to me. So had it not been for that wonderful, wonderful experience, I don't know what I would be doing today.
Peanuts creator Charles Schulz summed up the feelings of the entire nation when Annette finally outgrew her mouse ears. On our next edition, Annette reveals her darkest hour, the day she told her children that her 17-year marriage was over. We'll also meet the man who put happiness back in her heart and reveal their surprise wedding. Don't miss it. For Annette Funicello, love is sensational with new husband, rancher Glen Holt. She's bounced back from the end of a 17-year marriage to Hollywood agent Jack Gilardi. But recalling the mind-numbing moment she had to break the heart-rendering news to their kids brings bitter memories flooding back.
I took the 3 children in my bedroom, and we cried together. They were terribly sad. I was terribly sad, not over the separation, but to have to tell them news like this. We had never had anything like this in our family before. That's what was really hard. I didn't know how to tell my parents.
But her most horrifying fear was that she had shattered her pure public image.
My fans, were they going to hate me? Were they going to think that I have destroyed the image that I've always presented? And, gosh, I gave it a lot of thought, and I just thought I can't go on living a lie.
After recovering from that terrible trauma, it seemed that one of Hollywood's most eligible ladies would be in hot demand.
My mother said, when people read of your divorce, your phone is going to ring off the hook. It never rang. The married men were always the ones that asked me out.
But just when it seemed she'd never love again, the man of her dreams galloped into her life.
Actually, we had known each other for many, many years ago. But he was married at the time, and I was married at the time. And I had met Glen because he breeds and races his own horses. And he was stabled in back of me. And it was always like, hi, how are you? How you doing? Good to see you. Bye. And it was never anything between the two of us other than just kind of niceties.
Although they shared mutual interests, it took 10 years for friendship to turn to love.
Glen came up to us and he said, hi, I haven't seen you in so long. And he had gotten a divorce, and I had gotten a divorce. So all of a sudden, it's like, well, hi.
After 2 years of courting, Cupid nudged Glen to cautiously pop the question over a Valentine's Day dinner.
I would think about it occasionally, you know, said, she wouldn't be interested in being married to a cowboy. But anyway, it grew and grew, and I asked her, and I almost died of shock. She said yes.
I had always thought he is the most gentle man that I've known in a long time, and kind and just easy to be with.
But her prime concern was that her children would share her loving feelings for Glen.
They were thrilled because they have been going to the stable area since they were little. They knew that things were looking up for me, and of course they could be nothing but happy when I told them the good news.
Until now, the couple have kept their wedding a guarded secret. They celebrated with a party, but had trouble persuading one of her dearest friends to show up.
I called the studio, and I said, could I please have Mickey Mouse appear just to walk in and wave and say, hi, Glen, and give him a kiss, and then he could wander out again. And they said, we're very sorry. The new policy is not to loan Mickey out anymore. And I said, but not even for my wedding? And they said, oh, Annette, we're so sorry. Not even for your wedding. If we did it for you, we'd have to do it for everybody that requested Mickey Mouse. About 2 weeks later, I get a phone call from the head of the publicity department saying, we've thought it over, and we realized that Walt Disney would want Mickey Mouse to be with you.
And Disney's biggest star brought a fairy tale gift for the newlyweds, a crystal replica of Snow White's castle. Glen gifted his new bride with a baby colt named after the only other man who shares her heart, Uncle Walt. After the turmoil of divorce, life once again is perfect for America's sweetheart.
He's a wonderful friend, and he's just made my life real happy again.
On our next edition, Annette's ultimate sacrifice.
No.
At the height of her career, Annette Funicello turned her back on Hollywood to raise a family. She now shares that joy with second husband, rancher Glen Holt. It was a decision that cost her probably million-dollar movie contracts, but allowed her to play her favorite role.
I quit about 3 years after each child because I wanted to be home when they started to crawl and when they took their first steps. I didn't want a nanny saying to me when I walked in the door, your child walked for the first time today. I didn't want that. I wanted to be with them, and I was. And it's paid off.
Annette's move to leave the bright lights was a film agent's nightmare, but she didn't give it a second thought.
I had always said that once I got married and started having children, they would be my first priority. I mean, there was no question about it. There were no decisions to make. I knew what I wanted. I wanted to be with my kids.
And now, although her 3 children are far from toddlers, none of the rich trappings of success can make her change her mind. Show business still comes second in her life.
If they want me to go out and meet somebody at a studio, my agent, who's my brother, he says, I know never to ask you on a Wednesday because that's when you go to the hairdresser. And I'll never bother you on a Friday because you're there sometimes too. So many people think I'm corny. Why don't you like the Hollywood scene? Why don't you go to premieres? Why don't we see you here or there? That's just not my thing. That's just not my thing. I've never enjoyed travel since I've had children. I'd rather be home with my kids to cook dinner.
Home is a spacious ranch house tucked away in the sprawling hills of the San Fernando Valley near Los Angeles. It's filled with memories of her family's treasured times.
I've lived in this home for 21 years. My 3 children were born here, and my folks are about 3 minutes away. We see each other every day. I find that with my mom and me, and we're so close, we're really like girlfriends, I was always so immature, always. And now that I have matured, and I really find that it's since I turned 40, I just kind of feel grown up now, you know? I never was before.
Spending her growing years as a hard-working Mouseketeer meant sacrificing many childhood pleasures. But Annette captures them now through her own kids.
I never had a junior or a senior prom. But I can live that through my daughter. She did. We sit and we talk. And I tell them what I don't like. They tell me what they don't like. But I'm doing too. Mom, you're a little bit too strict. And my daughter said to me, Mom, I'm 20 years old. I still have a curfew. It's not the same as it was with me. If my parents told me to do something, I didn't question it.
And she's lovingly instilled her time-tested traditional values in every area of their lives.
My little one there is dynamite. He's interested in the music just like I am. The drums and the singing. He'd like to get into show business. He's 11 years old. And Frankie Avalon and I are preparing another beach picture. There's a part in it for a kid called Jace the Face, and that's what I call my son. He wants to read for it. So I thought, why not? He's not going to have any special favors. If he's the best one to play my son, then by all means, he will play my son.
And she's so dedicated to her family, she's even spread them throughout her national commercials.
My daughter, she, of course, had her own makeup man and the hairstylist, and she said, this is the life for me. This is what I want to do. And I said, well, if you think you want to be an actress, I want you to wait. I want you to finish school, first of all, and then study your craft, because there is no one around today that is Walt Disney.
Annette has enjoyed the luxuries of California living. She attributes it all to the one firm foundation in her life, her family.
It gives you the confidence to go out into the world, because you can always come home and know that you have a healthy, happy one.
Thank you, Annette.